Hey ladies and guys, it's Wiley, and today we're gonna have a look at the Redstone Pen mod, in particular the Redstone Logic Controller and how to use it to get Redstone signals in and out of the game into the real world. And for making it slightly more interesting, I prepared a small board. Actually, I had it already. It's just a collection of stuff that I had in various old boxes, and I tried them all out, and we're gonna use this for demonstration purposes today. So I got the uh, game running from the IDE because I want to show you some stuff later on, but it doesn't matter at all. It also works directly on the released mods. Okay, so while this is starting up, let's take a look at the electronics here. We got an Arduino in the center, then this is just a driver so that we don't shoot our output pins when we actuate the outputs. That's a ULN2803. It's a very known chip. It's a Darlington array. Then we have some LEDs, one buzzer, one signal relay, and a read relay as outputs. And for the inputs, we got one encoder in form of a jog dial, one read switch, which we're not gonna use because it doesn't work. I tried it out. One thermistor that I disassembled from an old PC. I don't know the exact thermistor constant, but it doesn't matter. I simply scaled it to a value range that we get between room and body temperature, some nice value changes. This one here is an industrial, or better said, automotive pressure sensor. We're also not going to use that. It works perfectly, but it would be slightly awkward trying to increase the pressure in this little hole there. What else? A standard potentiometer, so it's basically a variable resistor. So we can modify voltages on the Arduino inputs with that as well. And last but not least, a small LDR, a light dependent resistor, which drops its resistance when it's exposed to light. Right, so let's connect all that up and then check out how this is done in the game. I also gonna use this one with a multimeter so that we can see, or even maybe hear, the signal relay. Right. Um, there we go. Let's start the game. Or better said, let's load a creative world with a prepared RLC already. So we have, this is the RLC program. Tick rate 1 is just for performance measuring purposes on my setup here. It's not mandatory. Now, interfacing with the RLC is quite easy. We use special variables for that. It's DI and DO. So digital input and digital output, 0 to 15 are 16 input channels and 16 output channels. I know Redstone signals are technically analog signals, but DI and DO is simply more catchy than AD and DA. So I use DI and DO for that. We mapped the potentiometer to the red port, light sensor to green, temperature is blue, and then the upper port is the jog dial, but I didn't connect that in the setup here, it doesn't matter. And for the output, we simply measure the signal strength on port yellow, and depending on the signal strength, we switch on or off different outputs. So let's start it, and we can see that this RLC is now mapped to my, let's say, player account, which is here a temporary account because I'm running it from the IDE. So this is the connection that's going to be used also on servers to map the logic which is running on the server to your client machine. Good. Now let's take a look at the values. We have light on blue, which is that one. So I'm gonna cover that up, and you can see it drops. It's comparatively responsive, more than I anticipated, I have to admit. Then in the center, that should be on the red port, the potentiometer. Here we go. And that's the temperature, right? So let's increase that a bit, and now it should slowly go back again. while that is relaxing, let's take a look at the outputs. So this is the signal relay, if I recall correctly. I don't know if you hear that, that's quite annoying. But you may also see it here, not connected or about 0 ohms. So that relay is switching, and then we got blue, white, and green LEDs, and then another buzzer, which is that one here, which is covered. Yeah, that's about it. It's quite easy on the Minecraft side to interface it, and it's not really harder on the PC side. And that's what we're gonna take a look at now. All right. Okay, short period later, I closed the game and searched the log already for the right location. And now we can take a look how this is done on the client side. Good. So we have to create 2 files in our game directory. You can see here my game directory run. So there's logs, mods, downloads, and so on. So we create 2 files in there. One is redstonepen.i.mmap and the other one redstonepen.o.nmap. And if those 2 files are detected while the game is starting up, then you will get from the mod a log entry Redstone Pen RCA detected and enabled on this client machine. So this is how you can see that it actually accepted that the RCA should be enabled. And then you can use these 2 files for input and output with the game. So I is what we catch in the RLCs using DI0 to DI15, and O is what is written if we set DO0 to DO15 in the RLCs. And the format is simply a hexadecimal 16 channels big endian. That means channel 0 is the rightmost nibble and channel 15 is the leftmost channel, is the leftmost nibble here. And that's basically it. So you can use direct file I/O for reading and writing into the game, and that's about it. Now, in the mod, I use memory mapping for making the whole thing a bit faster, and you can do that as well. You don't have to, but you can do. It's some kind of shared memory overlay over a file that allows you non-blocking fast access. If you're interested in that, I got documentation about this in the mod repository. So in Redstone Pen, there is a branch called Redstone Client Adapter. And there I got on the one hand some examples. So this is here memory mapping, and then the RCA for C++. Then this is for duct tape GS, which is a micro interpreter for JavaScript. And I made a bit of a program a while ago, and I misused that simply for interfacing with the Arduino. So it can open a serial port and it can use the memory mapping. So this program is simply misused for doing this forwarding to the Arduino in this case. And in Java, well, it's basically the same code as used in the mod, so you can reuse that. And in C# and Python and so on, it's the same thing in the end. So memory mapping is quite standardized and no problem at all. And if you don't like to do that, you can still simply use file I/O. Right, so that will be it, except if you are interested in why this design decisions was made and so on, you can read that up as well in this documentation. So it's a conglomerate of what is available in Java and whatnot, what is available in Windows or not, and also security concerns and so on. Right. Okay, then I would say have fun and maybe see you on the server. Cheerio.